Hi guys, we're ready for chapter 13 in our book. We only have 15 chapters, so we're almost done with it. I'm going to read 2 for this week and then finish up next week. Just a reminder, if you didn't write a summary for last week's reading, then you didn't get any credit for reading. You failed in reading. So you need to be careful and not only listen to the videos, but follow my instructions that are on the Google page, the Google Classroom page, and do what I'm asking you to do, or you don't get credit for it. You can't just send me a comment and say, I watched the video. That doesn't work. You have to answer the question or write a summary or whatever I asked you to do in the instructions. Okay, and the same thing goes with social skills. Last week you had 2 motivational videos to watch. And for each one of those videos in the instruction part in the Google Classroom, I had a question, a very simple question. Could have taken you 1 minute to answer. But if you're not answering them, then you're not getting credit. And you just answer it in the comment box down there at the bottom of Google Classroom, and I'll get it. So I just want to let you know that if you're not doing that, then you're getting failing grades for those, okay? So be sure to do that for me. And it'll be the same thing for this week for reading. On Friday, your summary will be due for chapters 13 and 14. Okay? Doesn't matter when you watch them, but your summary will be due on Friday. All right, chapter 13 starts off with his dad's poem. Sean and I are alone in the darkness. Sean and I are alone. We're disappearing. We're disappearing. It's been 5 days since the Alice Pond show. 5 days. And I can't help stop thinking about my dad. It's Friday afternoon, and yesterday Paul got on a bus with his teammates and drove 300 miles to Spokane to play in a basketball tournament this weekend. He was really excited. Tomorrow morning, Saturday, Mom will go to Spokane too, driving Cindy and a couple of her girlfriends over to watch the mighty Spartans take on the Fighting Knights of Spokane's Thompson High School. I'm having trouble getting caught up in the rah-rah spirit. Dad's Alice Pond's appearance has me pretty freaked out. Negativity. I've almost always been able to avoid it, but right now I am floating in an ocean of it. Remember, his dad was on that talk show. If you watched the videos from last week, he was on the talk show for Alice Pond's, and he was talking about, parents with children who had severe disabilities like Sean, and some of the frustrations that they go through and some of the thoughts that go through their mind. And Sean's got this great idea that, his dad wants to do him in for some reason. Well, not for some reason. He's told us why Sean feels that way, because his dad thinks he's in pain and doesn't really get what's going on. And actually Sean knows everything that's going on, and he's not in any pain, but he can't communicate that to his dad. I try not to think about dying, but it keeps coming back into my mind. I bet condemned guys on death row feel like this. Terrible, hopeless. My stomach is empty, my chest struggles to catch a breath, my thoughts are racing. I don't want to feel sorry for myself. Negativity and self-pity are useless. Mostly all my life I've relied on humor and remembering good stuff to get me through the day. To me, laughter and memory have always been the best things to fight off worry. And after all, when you're talking memories, I am the king. Remember, he's got that he remembers everything from I think it was like 4 years old. He remembers every conversation and everything that happened. So he's got this phenomenal memory. Right now, I can't shut my memories down. My life races through my brain and I remember everything. I can't even slow my brain down. I remember Christmas morning when I was 6 years old. How many of you guys can remember that? Christmas morning when you were 6 years old. I don't think I can. I'd have to think about that for a while. I woke up to the sounds of Paul and Cindy in the living room. It might have been the last Christmas all three of us were still pretty much little kids. Lying in my crib, I could hear Cindy and Paul laughing. I'd hear the slightest rip and the rustling of paper and the oohs and ahs in loud, excited whispers. And then I'd hear them tear a piece of Scotch tape from the little plastic dispenser. They were sneaking peeks at all their gifts and then taping the presents shut again. December that year was fairly warm, and I remember lying there in my crib, and a robin, very fat, came and landed on the windowsill outside, and I saw him through a really small crack between my curtains. He was parked right in the middle of the opening, staring at me. He seemed to know what was going on, like he was a member of the Christmas morning bird police. He seemed to be asking me whether or not we should bust Cindy and Paul, and I knew it couldn't be true, but it felt true. I thought to the robin, let's just let him go this time. And the robin winked at me and flew away. I remember when I was 8. Dad and Mom took the three of us kids to the Seattle Center and the Pacific Science Center. Cindy and Paul had been begging to go to the virtual reality attraction. And if you waited in line for 40 minutes, you could put on this headgear, step into this twirly machine, and fly through the cosmos. After Cindy and Paul had each had their turns, I figured we'd leave. But Dad said, Sean's turn. The guy running the ride looked at me in my wheelchair and said, oh, I'm sorry, sir. I don't know how we would put a wheelchair in this. Dad gave the guy one of his best Sidney E. McDaniel Madman poet stares, and this was in the pre-Pulitzer era. Sorry. And Dad looked a lot more mad back then. Dad said, I wasn't interested in taking the wheelchair for a ride, and he lifted me out like I weighed 1 ounce and demanded, strap me in, I'll hold him. The guy running the show was tall and thin, wearing a green Science Center polo shirt. I don't know, sir. Come on, buddy, my dad said, like the guy had been his best friend for the last 20 years. You know the drill, no guts, no glory. This kid and I, one turn. Dad looked over to the machine, and before the guy could say another word, Dad talking nonstop, he stepped into the harness, holding me all the while and never giving the attendant a chance to say no again. This'll be great, Dad said. Nobody wants a lawsuit over failure to serve the handicapped. Everybody is happy. Everybody wants to have fun. This is great. We're having some fun now. Great. Now just strap me in and we'll put that headgear jobby right on old Sean's noggin here and we're all set. Well, by the time the guy could get a word out, Dad and I were already strapped into the contraption, and Dad reached out and grabbed the headgear from the guy and put it on me. In the next moment, I whirled through time and space. Stars were shooting past me, and the galaxy unfolded. Light, darkness, speed. It was fantastic. The best part of all, though, I loved the feeling of my dad's arms around me, holding me tightly as we spun and twisted our way through the universe. I remember all my reactions to all the music I've ever heard, songs, melodies, and symphonies. I remember images, too. Van Gogh's Crows in a Cornfield. Those are names of famous paintings. Vincent van Gogh was a famous painter. Hopper's Nighthawks, Picasso's, and Mary Randland's photographs of water caressing stones. I remember the faces, voices, hands, and the hearts of the artists and poets, actors and ditch diggers, cops, grocers. the guy who reads our electric meter. I remember Ken Burns' baseball, Mom's Charlie perfume, Cindy's laughter and her smile, the blood that time on Paul's hands, and all the times I heard his laugh and the thump of his feet as he ran up the stairs to the ring of the telephone, the snap of a drum, the morning paper hitting the porch. I remember Allie's pretty face. Remember, Allie was a friend of Cindy's that he thought was really pretty. William's strong arms, Becky's soft smile, winky, winky, winky. My life moves across the back of my eyes, across the middle of my ears, and everything I've ever dreamed of, seen, smelled, heard, desired, loved, hated, been scared of, wished I could touch, I remember all of it. You know, memory's all we have for ourselves and for the people we love. The memories of us, once we die, are all that's left of us. And when I'm gone, maybe someone will pick up my dad's poem titled Sean. And maybe it'll be a year after I'm gone, maybe 2 years, maybe 200 years. Maybe that person will read the poem and be moved and think they know me. Whom will they know? What will they know? Will that edition carry a special note explaining that Sidney E. McDaniel, the author of the poem, did away with his son? Will the reader know Dad or me any better? And if I'm anything at all, you'd have to agree that I am memory. Will anyone ever know that my life, once lived and then over, was one of perfect remembering? No one will know. No one will know me. But I'm just not ready to give up the hope that someday I might be known. I'm just not ready. And that's chapter 13. Remember, if you didn't do your summary from last week, please go back and get that done, get that turned in. You can do it on a Word document, save it, and then email it to me. I've had some of my students doing that. But again, you can just type it in the comment box of the Google Classroom, and I'll get it that way too. Okay, love and miss you guys. See you later.